next panel discussion is on consumption in the digital age. And of course, this one, Swati, is closer to home. We've seen the shifting trends of how people have consumed media in India. The shift to digital has been very, very evident.
Now, may we please call on stage our next panel, Mr. Rajiv Dubey, Senior General Manager and Head of Media, Dabur, India. Mr. Mohit Joshi, CEO, Havas Media Network, India. Mr. Navin Khemka, CEO, South Asia, EssenceMediacom. Mr. Santosh Kumar, COO, INNOCEAN, India. And this session will be moderated by Mr. Vikram Sakhuja, Group CEO, Madison Media and OOH, Madison World.
Welcome on stage, gentlemen. Over to you.
In this entire Insights conference that we're having today, this is the advertising and marketing panel from what I can make out. The issue that we are really exploring today is consumption. And we are trying to see that in the digital age, there's been a lot of change which has happened in advertising and media thanks to digital. What has that change been and how exactly has it impacted consumption or consumerism? So we've already introduced, the panel has been introduced. It's a very, very eminent panel here. So I will not, we have about half an hour, so I want to dive straight into it. Now, from the old days of branding, when there was good old broadcast, TV, print, radio, outdoor, cinema, all that, the big thing about digital has been this, clearly there's been a lot of change. Today in the entire ADEX of India, digital is about over 40%. It used to be nothing. TV and print were the big daddies, and now they're not. So digital has been right on top. What we are also seeing in the process is a new word called performance. Earlier there used to be marketing or advertising, but now that is called branding, and there's something called performance, which is all about short-term sales. Then there's also the entire full funnel kind of marketing that we can now do. There's something called top funnel, mid funnel, bottom funnel, and you can actually try to take a consumer and through his entire journey and try to target and get some results out of it and measure the ROI. Very, very exciting. There's also the entire ability from the earlier broadcast days where you just send the message out there, it would go to everybody. Now you can target in a very, very hyper-local, very fine-tuned manner. And in all of this, we also have the entire programmatic and data piece, which is allowing you to build affinity and interest groups. Earlier, we could only do, say, demographic targeting, but now there are so many ways in which you can actually reach a message. So it's all been very exciting. And as you can see, 40% plus of the ADEX is there. But what exactly has been the impact on consumerism? With that, I'm going to first come in and see from the panel that has consumption increased or not? Look, we are not an economist panel, so we can't look at consumption from a standpoint of disposable income minus whatever savings, and that's the way we are going to be talking about consumption. No. This is going to be more from a standpoint of category growth, category development, things like that. And so over the last 7-8 years, when digital has really been coming, Rajiv, do you think what has been the exact boom or not in consumerism?
So significant difference one has seen in last 4-5 years is that a lot of business has moved to online business. Like for example, a traditional company like ours, Dabur, which has been primarily been selling through 77 lakh outlets in the country, reaching out to almost 120, 140 crore people in the country. 10% of our business has moved to online business right now. So there's been a significant change in our business. And initially it came at the cost of modern trade, but that's a new business because we are able to launch new products in e-commerce, totally new, which is not a traditional products to Dabur. And the cost of doing business there is much lesser. That's low hanging fruit. You are able to target consumers who are already there shopping. So that's been a different story altogether for us. That's been low-hanging fruit. We've been targeting those people, and we have moved some monies over there. Now coming to consumption. Consumption per se at a country level, After COVID, one saw one spurt in consumption. 3 years were very good. Last few quarters has been slightly subdued because of the rural consumption has slowed down a bit. So the moment rural consumption goes up, you see much better numbers. However, we hope that next couple of quarters are going to be better.
Great. So that's a cautious start. Santosh, look, this is India's age. I mean, this is India's century, forget the decades. We're talking about a 7% growth this year also. It's been reasonably steady. The entire narrative is pro-India. Do you think, if I look at the ADEX is not going gangbusters. We expected 15 to 20% growth, is going to be closer to 10. And even last year wasn't that great. What do you think? Is the entire positivity which is there in the larger macroeconomic sphere, is it showing up in consumption, consumerism overall?
Yeah, so I have a little different perspective is there. So definitely there is a positive story around India's shining and growth and all. The consumption depends on the category to category. So in certain category, we have seen in some of our clients here where the consumption has really increased. So just to give an example that automobile has done the highest sales in January this year. Record sales across all companies, they have the highest growth there. So there is definitely a higher consumption that is happening. Similarly, if we see digital native categories, which is be it app-based businesses, ride-hailing businesses, fintech businesses, there has been a huge surge, huge consumption that's happening. The economics depends that how is the customer life cycle value is evolving around, because that's another way of looking at it is. So there we see that there is a significant increase. Maybe it is because of a disposable income, or maybe because of the changing landscape in the consumer consumption pattern that's happening. Third, I would say is post-COVID is kind of the revenge the consumers have. So that's where we have seen the growth in travel sector. The people are actually traveling more. If you see the airline prices, that has gone skyrocket, and then still airline occupancy has been increased a lot. Hospitality industry have seen a huge surge. So that's also is somewhere there, which is, it's very difficult to predict whether it will stay for longer, but at least it looks like that it will be there at least 1 or 2 years going forward.
So I'm getting from you that there are some categories which are booming, and you've mentioned the ones which have been booming. So Navin, would you sort of echo, or would you like to build on that? Which is it across the growth kind of growth that we are getting, or is it only patchy or in some segments?
Yeah.
Whether it's categories or whether it's maybe demographic segments, pop strata, urban, rural,
Absolutely.
high priced, low priced.
No, I totally echo with Santosh what he said. Actually, if you see the ADEX, and which the point that you started, Vikram, the ADEX, the growth of ADEX and the share of digital on the ADEX growing at about 10-12%, while we were expecting 15 to 18%, which means two things. Because the ADEX is growing, it is because the sales are also growing, because there is a typical advertising to sales ratio that brands operate on. It's not that suddenly your A to S ratios will go up, right? So which means your sales are increasing, you're putting more money on media so that you are able to affect more sales. That's one. Second thing is the incremental ADEX is actually coming mostly on digital. The reason why the incremental ADEX is coming mostly on digital right now is because digital is also allowing more number of brands to start getting advertised, because the entry level cost on digital is far lower than the entry level cost on mass media to be able to do a campaign. So which means more number of brands are there. If you look at the number of advertisers, Vikram, what we saw 10 years back, the number of advertisers in India, and what we are seeing today, thanks to the 40% onslaught of digital, the number of advertisers actually 4x or 5x, which means the number of brands available for the consumer today is so much more to choose from. So today you have brands available in the mass market. Today you have brands available in the digital space. You have brands available only on Amazon and Flipkart. Today you have D2C brands available only on their own platforms. So yeah, just look at the way today the market is evolving and how so many more brands are getting wings to fly. And yeah, I would say...
I think that's a great point you're raising, Navin, because with digital, the entire SMB, MSME,
absolutely.
That I think we've got about 4 lakh new advertisers who've come in, which is more than all of TV, print, radio, everything put together. So all of them, we've actually got definitely more marketers or advertisers come in. But Mohit, why is it that despite all of that, we're still at 0.3% of GDP, as ADEX is about 0.3% of GDP, and that seems to be one flat number which has been over the last 10 years?
Hello. Yes, I agree with you, Vikram. I think I agree with all the points that these guys have been saying. The growths have been there in some of the sectors, and being his agency, I can vouch for that. However, I think it's the benchmark of the GDP, the ADEX to the GDP that is really, really low. I'll give you another analogy. If you look at the CPTs that we have in India, on television, compared to all the other markets, they are traditionally so low, right? And any amount of effort that you would do, the comparison I'm saying, CPTs of the TV versus that of other media, right? There is a huge difference in India because classically the benchmarks have been low. I think those benchmarks of ADEX to GDP, or for that matter, A to S to some extent, have been low in India. And I think that's just continuing. And unfortunately, COVID allowed all the advertisers, or made all the advertisers conserve monies at that point in time. And after COVID, once the advertisers have come back, maybe this was your second question, but the way they are using media has changed significantly. It's become more digital, right? And it's become more performance based. So I think classically the A to S in India are lower than that of the West. Also, the GDP, the ADEX as a percentage of GDP has always been low, as you rightly said, and it's a flat thing. It's not possible for it to jump in a specific year. And unfortunately, because of COVID, even if it would have gone up, that situation did not happen.
So in the first sort of round that we've done, the sense I'm getting is that there is growth. It's patchy. It's in parts. Digital is definitely bringing in more advertisers. But somehow the tsunami of advertising, and because of that, the growth in consumption probably hasn't happened. But it is still a little muted, but it's probably in the right direction. So now let's move to the to the heart of it, which is role of advertising and media in a digital world. So let me start this time with Santosh. Fundamentally, do you think advertising has changed? Now we're talking about from a creative messaging standpoint. From the time, like maybe 10, 15 years back, the kind of ads that were made and the kind of ads that are made now, has there been a fundamental difference in the digital age? 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 2 seconds, and skip button, performance, buy me or else. What is your 30,000 feet picture on the quality of advertising, has it undergone a change?
Okay, so I have a 30,000 view also, and I have a 3 feet view as well, because I am the part of the journey where the digital was tiny, and I was among the very few people in India where we started digital, and we were part of the larger ATL team trying to find a space to put some banners on the website or something there. From that place, we have covered the journey of 20 years where we are seeing that digital has surpassed the overall other medium spends collectively. Now, so definitely there has been a significant, I would say, a paradigm shift in the creative messaging, or the way of communication has been done, where the earlier stage was where there was a huge emphasis on the communication, on the copy, on the artwork, that comes through a lot of checks and balances to see that the communication is fitting with the brand tonality or values or something is there. Where today it's a very moment of truth advertising. And here that time doesn't permit to have that kind of a sanity checks, that kind of a deep diving and all. And actually that content is so perishable. It has such a short life that it has to be tactical, topical, and apt in the context. So that is the game changer is there. So there has been a very small, snackable, relatable content has started coming. It is not, the advertising format has also changed. It is not very film related, but it is also about how we are relating it to an event or to a kind of a, some sort of incidences or topicalities. Second is also it is the influencer marketing, which is a different way of producing content altogether. So there has been a mix of lot of different types of format that has come. And that purely depends on the attention span, which is getting down every year. So this year, the latest news is coming. It's coming down to less than 4 seconds. No, so advertiser is struggling that what they can write or tell to the consumer that it can reduce, it can be noticed in that 4 seconds is there. So the answer lies in that, the contextuality.
So let's take that to Mr. Dubey.
Yeah.
If you can build on what Santosh said and said, do you think this entire challenge of having to say what you want to say in very little time, how are you as a marketer addressing that? And while you're talking about that, do you feel there has been a change from building brand love to more selling? Buy me now, sales, transaction, and is that good or is that bad?
So first of all, let me talk about attention economy. So goldfish has an attention span or say memory of 8 seconds, I guess, right? Humans have become even worse than that, right? So your attention span is when your finger is at the bottom of the phone till the top of the phone when it's scrolling up. So that's the attention span. 4 seconds is what you said, Santosh. Probably less than that, So and you have to say everything. So in that 4 seconds, in those 4 seconds. So if that is the case, then you have to have advertising which is suited for those 4 seconds. Whereas,
have you adapted to that?
So that's one part of spectrum. That is, I think I would say, bottom of the funnel. But the moment you go to top of the funnel, you still have to advertise. You have to still build the brand love. You have to still build the brands. Brands are not built just by doing this kind of advertising. So for that, you have to go mass. You have to buy sports. You have to be present on a mass medium and not target so sharp. Like companies like us, although we target in our own way to our consumers, but everybody is a consumer for our products. So if everybody is consumer for your products, then you have to go to top of the funnel. You have to address that as well and build the brand love. You can't just do bottom of the funnel advertising or just cater to one segment of people. Although you're getting business there, but that business is for a short term. You can't sustain your business forever with that. You still have to build your brands.
So let me put you on the spot. In terms of driving long-term consumption growth, consumerism, is branding or building brand love or the basic brand proposition, does that work more in the long term or building short-term sales? And it's an either-or answer. And you can't answer by saying both. And balance. Long-term, which one would you say has a higher role to play?
Long-term, obviously, building brand love will always work for you because that will go a long way. That'll create your brand. That'll set you apart from others. However, you can't ignore the ones who are there. Again, I'm saying that both. So, like in our business, almost 20% of that money is going towards performance right now. It's for those people. Otherwise, you lose out on the business. You don't intend to lose on those people as well. So you're doing both. You can't just do one and get away with it.
So let me take a segue into that. 20 for performance and 80 for branding, I think is a pretty healthy one. Mohit, if you have to look at it, Do you think, when you look at across all the kind of brands and categories that you're working on, has the pendulum shifted more towards performance than is probably healthy? Or is it doing it just right?
I would agree with you that the pendulum has significantly shifted towards performance, because today clients are asking you to give an ROI of a television campaign as well, and we are doing that. However, at the same time, there is a need to build brand love, and probably the way to build brand love has changed. I don't think advertising can do that anymore. You need to associate yourself with the right tenets or the right domains to create brand love. And I'll just give you an example of one. I have my partner sitting over here. For Hyundai, we partnered with media partner, and we created a campaign called Samarth, which is the consciousness around creating infrastructure for differently abled people in India, right? So, and Hyundai is taking that as a cause, and somewhere the cause-related marketing or the meaningful marketing also comes into play. I think those are the ways in which brands are creating brand love today, because we do not have the luxury of running, I would say, brand films the way it used to happen at the time of when we started our careers. We had a different budget for thematic films and different budget for promotional films. I think everything today is call to action, and hence brands are also looking at different ways of creating that connect with their consumers in through meaningful ways, and that is something that I see happening across brands through purposeful marketing, meaningful marketing, and associations.
Okay, Navin, Santosh alluded to the part about how when you're using certain kind of digital media, it's like the feed ones, it's all very fast. Let's talk about how consumer is consuming media right now. Do you think there's been a fundamental shift? Is it that people are still consuming everything, so TV, print, radio, and also digital? Or is it become a zero-sum game and people have dropped other mediums and only sort of moving to digital?
No, of course. I think over the years, the time spent on media has really gone up. And obviously, if we consider mobile phone and social media also as a media choice now, so it's really gone up manifold. We are spending more time on whichever screen that we are on. That's one. However, the extent of the time that we are spending on each screen, it depends on which age group you belong to. So today, if you are a slightly more very younger audience, which we are calling possibly cord nevers, who've never seen TV in their lives, they are possibly, they are glued onto the screens the whole day, almost 5 to 6 hours in a day. And some of our kids are classic examples in this room, right? Who are spending so much of time on the mobile screen. However, the more you grow older, then you see that people still have the habit of going back to their the good old television, also catching up on programming there.
So let me just now, there was a lead-up question to basically reacting to Rajiv's point, the goldfish point. When you're seeing a feed, a social media feed, versus say sitting in a cinema and watching an ad where you are pretty much captive audience, shouldn't you be factoring for the attention that you're getting? And in the process, are some of the media, are you feeling that people are chasing eyeballs mindlessly without actually taking the attention quotient into account?
Actually, Vikram, I have a different point of view there, but I understand what you're saying. Again, I would say today the way people are consuming media, and because people are so into that medium, so today if my creative choices are not platform first and creative first. So earlier what used to happen, we used to wait for the big creative idea, for the big creative agency to come and give the big creative idea and, come and present the big campaign. And then we used to all plan around that, right? And now things have changed. We are advising clients that don't think creative first, think platform first. So depending on which platform you want to advertise, depending on Facebook or Insta, or if you want to do in shorts, or if you want to do television, then you have to devise your creative strategy according to that. And it can be as attentive as television if you do it well.
And I'll put the same, what you've led up to both Rajiv and to Santosh. Do you think, from your client standpoint, do you feel that agencies have learned the syntax of how to master creative on Twitter or X as different from Instagram, as different from Facebook, as different from YouTube? Or are we you know, in our old days when FM radio happened, we used to get sound edits of TV commercials. That was ridiculous. But do you feel that people have mastered the syntax of all these different formats?
No, I don't think
And
so.
Based on what he answers, you have to defend that.
I don't think so. So agencies would still come to you and say that 90-second ad would work the best. And we have created several of them in the last 1 or 2 years. We created one film with Bachchan Saab and one with Nora Fateh last year. Those are like all 90 seconds film, and you know, at the best we could run it on YouTube once, you know, not second time we didn't have money for that. But however, you know, it's been very hard to tell them that, you know, you have to create brand love in 4 seconds, you know. It's been very hard. People learning, I mean, it's very hard learning for creative agencies. I mean, obviously, I mean, 4 seconds is a very... Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So I would see this in a very different perspective because, so when we are talking about a creative or a communication, I see the different lens that the brand love today is now dependent on the personalization. Personalization. Because personalization at scale is the key to grow further, because maybe I am at the medium where I spend 2 hours or 3 hours, which is maybe say Insta or a Facebook or anything else. Maybe he's at a medium where watching cinema or TV or something. So hence, it is not just one remedy or one solution that fits all, but it is a personalization that is more important for each of the audiences there. So that's where we create a lot of cuts. We create a lot of audience.
No, I think you haven't responded to, I mean, Rajiv's frustration. He's saying that I'm getting a 90-second ad when I'm asking you to
so
do
I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that, is there. So, yes, there may be instances where Rajiv might facing this thing, but when today's I see that agencies are getting ready to not as an advertising agency, but as a wholesome customer experience companies. And that's where the shift is we are seeing, at least at my organization, I'm seeing those kind of a shift is there, where we are not looking at a 90-seconder or a 60-seconder, but we are looking at that how we can build that experiences for the customer is there. Now, across different touch points. And that requires a different formats, platform first, that requires a different pieces of communication altogether. So that is a mix of all the things there.
And do you think creative talent today is skilled to handle the challenges of making creatives for different digital platforms?
Yeah. I would say the answer is not a very clear yes or no, but the answer lies in that how we are using technology into it. So like, for example, the use of generative AI is going to bring that paradigm shift where creative folks doesn't have to be thinking across all the platform and the format. They can take this aid very well. We have done a couple of experimentations where we have seen that with a similar kind of a communication, the prompts and the script, we can actually create 1,000 different kind of formats or the creative communication with a different imagery altogether is there. So the creative tech has to be in the play.
Got it. Okay, I think we're reaching towards the end of our timing. I think one of the most profound aspects of digital on advertising and media has been the so-called measurability. We said marketing funnel, the ability to see what every spot is doing in terms of engagement or action and stuff like that. If indeed this is true, that should increase the accountability of advertising or marketing spends, and therefore it should improve ROI. And if ROI is getting improved, then more investment should come. Why is that not happening? Mohit, firstly, do you think that we are in a situation today where we are better at answering ROI questions than we were 10 years back?
Definitely we are better, but we still are not we still don't have all the ammunition that we need, you know. On digital, yes, everything is measurable, but the moment you look at multimedia communication, you really don't have, you know, single measurability over there. You do market mix modeling, and basis that you try to convince clients that, you know, which media is working best. But in terms of technology, yes, we are significantly better than what we used to be 5 years back. But I think there's a huge requirement even today, which we need to cover for us to be going with complete confidence to the client saying that this is working and this is not working.
So for example,
When
you're
I'm
okay
talking
saying that
full
in
funnel
influencer
advertising.
marketing program that I did got me 5 million reach with 4% engagement, but I still don't know whether that worked better or my ad.
Absolutely, and still today you are doing the attribution is happening to the last click unless you are doing a market mix modeling. So there are challenges that we have. The biggest challenge is that you cannot go and convince a client that a brand is spending an X amount of on digital, because digital is not being tracked the way mass media is being tracked. So there are challenges. I think it will take some time for it to get
Naveen, would
settled.
you like to say that your observation on, are you seeing the marketing ROI discussion happening with clients, and are they now beginning to feel that if it's working, will they be spending more?
Increasingly, sorry, I would say increasingly, yes, Vikram. This is a hot topic of discussion across all meetings nowadays. But I would say, I think David Ogilvy once said, right, 50% of my ads, the advertising spend is wasted, and I don't know which 50%. So I think as long as advertising is working for you and it is working for your brand, I think we should not get so much into the ROI part and let it do its job and create iconic brands that we all love. So that I would say should be the key mantra.
So great.
I think
Now,
one most
yeah,
important
please.
thing is that, you should continue to advertise. You should not hold back advertising. So if 50% or 100% doesn't matter, but you should continue to advertise. That's the only thing which will work.
Amen to that. So I think we are reaching the end of our discussion. Right at the end, I'll just request each panelist to give their very succinct, a yes-no answer in terms of, so in the overall sum of things, what has been the impact of advertising and media in the digital age on consumption and consumerism? Has it increased, has it decreased, or remained same? So please don't, take a position and say it. And one thing that you'd like to see more of in the next year. So has it increased, decreased, or remained same for consumerism? And what would you like to see more?
It has increased.
Increased, okay.
Yeah. So certainly it has increased, and how I foresee the coming time is when you mentioned about a branding versus performance and all, I would say is today the word has been coined that is called brandformance. Brandformance. Now, so brandformance is about a delicate balance and synergy between that how the brand love and the equity has to be formed, which is for the long term, and how the money has to be invested for the short term strategy, which is for the driving sales, and ROI is there. So this is it.
Yes, it has increased, and what I would like to see more is clients like Rajiv who say that you should continue to advertise.
Absolutely.
You'll get the last one, okay. No, definitely, Vikram. I think great discussion, and I definitely think it has gone up in terms of consumption, with so many more new brands launching every day and across various platforms. Definitely gone up, and one thing I would want to see is more and more regional brands becoming more national, becoming large, big brands. So you see so many big regional brands today who are becoming such big brands. If they become national brands and become big iconic brands in the country, I think that's what I would want to see going forward.
Mr. Dubey gets the last word.
Yeah, last word is last word. So, absolutely, it has helped. And more so in digital because, it has helped newer brands to be launched in e-commerce and in marketplaces, which was for us, for say companies like consumer products companies like ours, it takes it's a lot of effort to launch a product all India. So a lot of brands are e-commerce first. You go to e-commerce, test it out, and then go to rest of the country. So that's been very easy. So obviously this.
What would you like to see more of?
I would say like to see more of opportunities to advertise, I would say, in the sense that, opportunities to advertise and better ROI, better measurability. I think that's something been missing. And probably a unified measurement, that's something
Excellent.
I would like to see.
So wonderful, thank you. So I think where we are netting out in this panel is there's a thumbs up overall that, yes, in the digital age, advertising and media is spurring consumerism. There is a thought that possibly we need to have a good balance of branding and performance. There is this entire piece about we should be always on and try to be spending. Don't take marketing or advertising as a just one campaign thing. You've got to engage with your consumers time and time again. The entire piece about you're actually now being able to get more advertisers into the fold, so that should be welcomed. And similarly, the regional brands, they have an opportunity to go whole national. And in all of this, if we can start getting some of the ROI piece going, unified measurement piece going, I think it's only sky's the limit for all of us. A big thank you to the entire panel and to you, the audience.